This morning we'll be talking about the foreword to the Urantia book. The Urantia book is a volume like this, over 2,000 pages. The foreword has 17 pages, and they describe reality in such a way that you think it's a totally foreign part of this book. And people reading the book get the idea that we don't need to know those things. It's too hard anyway. It'll take some genius to understand it. And I'd like to let you know that you don't have to be a genius to get an awful lot out of it. When we say we understand the foreword, we don't really mean we totally comprehend it. It's a misnomer. We're just less confused each time we go through it. So I'd like to explain the way I see the foreword, the way I have put it together, and see if it wouldn't help in understanding the entire book when we're done with this. I'm going to try to explain the foreword just as he does. This divine counselor is the counsel of God. He's not like we possess wisdom, we possess knowledge. He is the personification of the knowledge of God concerning divinity, divine counselor. In the context we're reading here, divinity means the unifying quality of deity. So this is the personification of the knowledge of that unification of God. And as we go through the foreword, we see how beautifully he unifies all reality, and even including the infinite and the finite, the eternal, and the time-space creatures, to make it how we all fit into one scheme that, might say, a plan that God has, what the will of God is. So let's just start with the very first paragraph, because that's where he tells what he's going to do, why he's doing it, the authority he has to do it, and how he intends to do it. The very first page is terribly important to go through very carefully. It says, "In the minds of the mortals of Urantia, that being the name of your world, there exists great confusion respecting the meanings of such terms as God, divinity, and deity." Then he goes on to say, "Human beings are still more confused and uncertain about the relationships of the divine personalities designated by these numerous appellations. Because of this conceptual poverty associated with so much ideational confusion, I have been directed to formulate this introductory statement, an explanation of the meanings which should be attached to certain word symbols as they may be hereinafter used in those papers which the Bon-Ton Corps of Truth Revealers have been authorized to translate into the English language of Urantia." It's really and truly a mouthful. First of all, like a good author, he tells us why he's going to write this. He sees a problem, and he's going to try to correct it. So the problems we have are twofold. One is in the way we understand things, and the other is the way in which we put those things together. He calls it confusion, remeaning such terms as God, deity, and divinity, and still more confused about the relationships of those things. So it's a twofold thing. There's on concepts and on their relations. And he says, because of that confusion that we have on because of conceptual poverty and ideational confusion, for those two reasons, he is going to write this introductory statement. And he says he's been directed to do this. So in that very statement, it shows that we live in a well-ordered, a well-designed, a caring universe. Somebody cares about our confusion down here, and somebody sent someone to try to clear that up for us. So already we see from this first paragraph that we're in a very, very friendly, a very ordered, a tremendous universe. So the thing here is there's two problems that we have on ideas and their relationship, and he says I have to make a statement. Second paragraph, he says, you might say he describes the difficulties he's going to come across in presenting his ideas. It's exceedingly difficult to present enlarged concepts and advanced truth. Again, that refers back to the two problems we have, the concepts, and the truth is a way we relate those concepts one to another. It's difficult in our endeavor to expand cosmic consciousness and enhance spiritual perception when we are restricted to the use of a circumscribed language of the realm. but our mandate admonishes us to make every effort to convey our meanings by using the word symbols of the English language. We have been instructed to introduce new terms only when the concept to be portrayed finds no terminology in English which can be employed to convey such a new concept partially or even with more or less distortion of meaning. So, you might say in your imagination, he was told to make this introductory statement. He goes back to those who told him and said, this is a little bit difficult. Using one language, it'd be like going to some undeveloped country centuries before ourselves and try to explain to them computers or the way we do things in business. It would make no sense to them. So he's trying to say, what I have to say here belongs to a realm far above them. I'll have some trouble doing that. So they tell him, make every effort. Don't worry about it. Use new terms whenever you have to, but don't overdo it. So in that first sentence of that paragraph, he says the two things he wants to do is to expand cosmic consciousness, to explain how wide, how big, how tremendous the universe is, but also to enhance spiritual perception, to see the universe and to know how God is indwelling the universe, inhabiting the universe, makes the universe go, that the universe cannot be understood without God, and understanding how God is in all of the universe, in many different areas, many different realms. So he's going to combine those two things, give us a better idea of what we're living in, and how to understand the spirit forces that make it go and make it what it is. The next paragraph, he tells us a method he's going to use. He described it, the problem. He has to solve it with some difficulties. He's going to make a methodology, you might say. So here is in the hope of facilitating comprehension, one thing, and preventing confusion, the second thing. On the part of every mortal who may peruse these papers, we deem it wise to present in this initial statement an outline of meanings. We deem it wise to present in this initial statement an outline of meanings. Tremendous methodology. He's going to solve both those problems in one way. He's going to give us an understanding of the terms we're confused about, we don't understand, and then he's going to put it in such a way, such an outline, that we can grasp the relation of these terms one to another. Very, very wise. So we have the introductory statement, and we have the way he's going to do it as an outline of meanings. So he'll use this to bring in other words, associated concepts, things, meanings, and values. These three terms he's going to come up with many, many times because those are the three elements of all reality. They're also the three comprehensible elements of divinity. Those are the only things we can understand about divinity. Things, meanings, and values. These terms will be used in, maybe 50, 60 ways, different ways in there, using different terms, but always referring to the same realities, things, meanings, and values. He says, the next paragraph, I might say this is a method we should use in studying this. He says, in order to formulate this foreword of definitions and limitations of terminology, it's necessary to anticipate the usage of these terms to be used in subsequent presentations. So this foreword is not a finished statement within itself. It's only a definitive guide designed to assist those who shall read the accompanying papers dealing with deity and the universe of universes, which have been formulated by an Urantia commission sent to Urantia for this purpose. He tells us that by reading the foreword itself is not sufficient. It's only a skeletal outline, but in such a way, by referring to this and knowing where the rest of the book fits in, we get a good understanding of the papers by the time we're done. And I think it's the way he presents it here is very important to understand the concepts presented in the foreword, and that's the purpose of this little talk this morning, is to see if we can't come to a little better, less confused idea of what the foreword is all about. And he says, use a definitive guide. A guide is one who takes us along a path, a trail, points out the beautiful things, the obstacles to be avoided, takes us right to the end of the trail. is definitive. There might be other trails, but this is the best, it's the quickest, it's sure, it is certain, it'll get us there. So many different definitions can be given to the two words definitive and guide. And again, he says that he's not alone in this endeavor. There's been sent a commission here to give us this whole book, presented by an Urbantan commission. In the first sentence up there, he tells us where Urantia comes from. It's the name of our planet. Down here, he says that we are part of a commission sent to Urantia. Now he has to explain where Urantia, where the word Urbantan comes from. And the next part of the introduction to the foreword is 2 paragraphs explaining what he means by the term universe of universes. And he shows where we fit into the total scheme of the cosmos. Your world, Urantia, is one of many similar inhabited planets which comprise the local universe of Nebadon. We already know that we are in a local universe called Nebadon. This universe, together with similar creations, make up the super universe of Urvantan. Here's where he explains where that word Urvantan in the last sentence came from. We're part of a super universe. It's the super universe commission that sent these authors here to formulate this revelation that we have. The capital of Urvantan is Uversa, and that's where these people we call beings, come from. Urvantan is one of 7 evolutionary super universes of time and space, which circle the never-beginning, never-ending creation of divine perfection. That divine perfection is called the central universe of Havona. So already we know something of the order going on. There are 7 super universes, much like what we inhabit, and they all circle around a central universe. So we have a universe of the universes here. At the heart of this central and eternal universe, Havona, is the stationary Isle of Paradise, the geographic center of infinity, and the dwelling place of the eternal God. Is very certain where he is. He is the center of all universe of universes. If we were to have the means of transport, we could eventually get to that geographic center of all things. But these 7 evolving super universes, in association with the central and divine universe, we commonly call the grand universe. So we have the central universe and the grand universe, and these are now there is now organizing. These are the inhabited and organized worlds. They are part of a master universe, which embraces uninhabited but presently mobilizing universes of outer space, of which there are 4. So we have the central universe of Paradise and Havona. We have our super universes circling that. Beyond that, there are 4 separate outer space levels, far vaster than what we have here, which is also circling around the center of Havona. This is not what's called an entropic universe. I think it means just scattered any which way, confused. This is a very orderly universe going about in some of a elliptical rotation around paradise. It's not just flying off in all directions. It is going out, but revolving circularly, elliptically around the center.